Good afternoon, my wonderful students. So today we will be talking about shapes, and this lesson is called the Shape Adventure. So later on, as we continue, we will also be creating a sunny collage. Here's my example. I do have different shapes in here. We have a circle, we have triangles, rectangles, and squares. Super excited to see what you do today. So the content areas that we will be reviewing today are math, art, music, drama, and movement. And I am your teacher, Miss Velasquez. So the learning objectives for today, by the end of this lesson, all of you are expected to know and identify as well as describe the basic shapes, which are circle, triangles, square, and rectangles. They will be the ones that we will be using for our collage. You will be able to express creativity through your art, through movement and music, and you will be able to work cooperatively using your imagination in play. So here is a photo as well that includes a circle, a triangle, square, and rectangle, the basic four that we will be using for today's activity. So the art forms that will be addressed, we will be working with visual art. We will be making the collage as previously mentioned. Dramatic art by acting out the play, the shapes, using our imagination by the end of the activity. We will be in the carpet and we will be using our bodies to create different shapes. And you can do this in pairs as well. The third one is music. We will be singing and dancing to the shape song that I have. And then the fourth will be forming our bodies in the shapes like previously mentioned. So the materials that we will need for today are construction paper. We will need the pre-cut shapes that I already have, which are the circles, squares, triangles, and rectangles. We will need glue sticks and crayons, but the crayons is very optional. We will have the shape song, which I chose today, and we will be reading this book, but on your own time. I attached it the um in the chat with your parents. I forgot the name of the app right now, but it's in the chat with your parents so you can watch this on your own time at home and learn about the different shapes. The book is called The Shape of Things, and we will also be using the carpet, which is where we will be creating our shapes. So for the classroom setup, we will have our tables set up ready for the collage making activity. Everything is already set up, but I just have you guys here for a second. We will be using the carpet area for the music and the movement activity, which we usually do every single day, but I'm just letting you know again. And then by the end, we will use our little boards that we usually use to display the examples and share all our work as well as the finished work. So right here, I have a picture of an example of what it could look like if you want to use all squares, but I want to remind you that we are using rectangles, triangles, circles, and squares, so you can use your imagination for all of that. But here's an example in case you want to work with that one. So for the warm-up, the idea is to start with the song, which I'm going to play in a bit, and then we will dance and we will create the shapes with, we will work with what we hear. So if we hear circle, we're going to do circle. If we hear triangle, we're going to do triangle. If we hear square, maybe you can work with your partner, and then rectangle, you can just go like this, stand very tall. So all the songs do mention certain shapes, so I will be showing out cutouts, which I actually forgot to make, but well, use my fingers. Um, yeah. So as we go, I will also be asking you what shape we're talking about, what shape it is, and where you see the shape. Have you seen the shape before? Where in the classroom do you already see one? For example, right here behind me in this window, I see a square. So for today's objective, it will be to spark curiosity and make connections with our prior knowledge. So, we've talked about many shapes before, but today we're just focusing on four of them. But we talk about all of these very often. So I want you to just use what you already know and connect it to what we're doing today. So again, for the primary activity, the visual art collage, step one, we will be playing the audio of the song. Like, I would expect you to already know the shape of things because I did send it in the chat with your parents. So I want you to already have an idea. And then step two, we will be introducing the activity. So let me first start by playing the song that I had. And we're gonna dance together, okay? Let me play it. So the song is called Shapes Are All Around. Amaze your friend. They polyappear again and again. Sorry, there's an ad. Zero. Okay, so I'm gonna put it on pause because we have to continue with the activity. So as previously mentioned, what we will be doing now is going ahead and creating our sun. So this is an example of one that I already had, and you don't have to make it exactly like this one. So since the shapes are kind of hard to work with and it's not as understandable, I showed this to my sister and she didn't know what it was. But if you look, I traced over it so it's easier to see, especially since you're younger and you may struggle a little bit with it. But the idea is still there and others may understand it. So please take a look at my example and take your time to create your own. So the idea, you can use the circle for the circle part of the sun and the triangles for the rays, or you can use rectangles or you can just decorate it however you want because we also have squares. It's entirely up to you, but if you need some examples or ideas, you can use what I mentioned. Um, so as previously mentioned, I had the song playing. Um, so you can sing it to yourself with your classmates if it helps you out to remember. There were more shapes mentioned, like the diamond, the heart, the star, but which ones are we using for today? Yes, we're using square. What about, we're using triangles. Yes, circles, and there's one more, rectangles. Yay! Great job. You guys knew the shapes that we're studying today. Kiss your brain. So I'm gonna give you some time to go ahead and do that on your own, and let's get ready for the next activity for today. Okay, so if you see in the photo, what do you see? You see three kids, and what shape do you see? A triangle. Yes, awesome. So today that's what we will be doing. Let's go ahead and move to the carpet. Okay, so we will be practicing doing the shapes with our bodies. I did mention earlier that you can work with a partner, you can work with two partners or in groups, or if you want to work alone, that's entirely okay. It's up to you to use your imagination and work how you would like to for this activity. So, for a ball, you can curl up into a ball, or you can get on the floor and try to roll. For a rectangle, it is a little bit more difficult, but what you can do is just stand straight or stand like this. You can get on the floor with the partner and go like this, and you can both do that. It's all about using your imagination. For the triangle, you can go above your head like this, or you can do how they are doing in the photo. They have three kids and they're doing it like that, or you can go with the partner and go like that, like this. Um, it's entirely up to you. And then for a square, I believe the easiest way to do it is grab one student, put it here, another, and another, and that'll be a perfect square. But it's up to you guys, and I'm super excited to see what you decide to do for this activity. Oh my God, awesome. Look at you. You look so adorable. So I do have a challenge by the end. I want to see if we can all create one big square all together and see what it looks like. And let's take a picture of it as well. Okay, so now it's time for the follow-up activity. And we're gonna sing the song once again. And we're gonna review what we did. So now let's take a look at all of the displays that you guys made. So this one is mine that I found in my desk from previous. And then here's all of your work. It's beautiful. I love the way you guys use your imagination. I have different students that use rectangles as arrays. I have different students that put a bunch of squares and line them up to create the rays. There are also students that use triangles, which is very awesome. And there's students that did a mix of it all and just for the circle, instead of using one big circle and going the easy route, you put a bunch of different shapes, which is amazing. And the background and everything, you guys colored it out. You used your imagination to make it very realistic. And I really like that about today's activity. I enjoyed it a lot. So now I want to know what your favorite shape was and why. You like the triangles because they looked a lot like the rays. Oh, okay, nice. And it was easier for you? Yeah, why? Why do you say so? Because it looked a lot like it and it was quicker. Okay, I understand. Yeah. There's me, I would have liked to do the square idea, how you stacked up a bunch of squares and created an array, but it's entirely okay if you wanted to use triangles. I get it, 100%. So what did we learn about the shapes today? You learned that you can make anything with shapes. Yes, why? Why do you think so? Yeah, because you read in the book that they made like a house. Yeah, I started with a square and then they added windows and they added the door. And let's say, what if we were doing a collage and we were trying to make a house? What shapes would we use? A square for the house, yes. A triangle for the roof. Other squares for the window. There's one more I think we could use. A rectangle for the door. Awesome, guys. Yes, I think that's completely true. I would do the same thing. Maybe for the next activity, we can do that because I really liked learning about shapes with you guys. But maybe for the next one, I'll expand it a little bit more and we can involve the stars, the oval, the heart, the diamond. There's so many shapes that we can work with for all these activities. So I look forward to seeing what you guys have in mind. So the standards and skills that were addressed, we were able to recognize and name the basic shapes that we already went over. We engaged in creative expression through art and play. We strengthened your fine motor and language, as well as social skills and developmental skills as well that were applied were the fine motor, control, reasoning, self-expression, and cooperation. We used, our hands to work with everything. We controlled everything. We chose what we wanted to use. We used reasoning to explain why we used the rays as rectangles or triangles, or why we wanted to mix all the different shapes, why we chose to draw a background, self-expression as well. You use your own form of doing the sun, the rays, and your own imagination. You chose the colors, you chose the format, everything, and cooperation because we got to work together and use our imagination by creating the shapes, by singing the song together. This activity has been very fun overall. So I wanted to thank you guys for today. It's been super fun. I learned a lot and I hope you learned a lot as well. I look forward to tomorrow's class and what we will be learning all together. So here I have a list of the habits of the mind that I used. So I used creativity by blending the different arts, the movement, the music. I created this lesson. I already work with pre-K. I mentioned this before, and this is one of the activities that we are going to be doing, except I think we're going to do something more like open and you get to pick what you want to do with your collage. But for this activity, I've had the sun in my mind for a while and I wanted it to be a little bit more organized and a little bit more structured for the sake of today. And yeah, so another one that I used was curiosity. I asked the students questions like why, what if, what did we learn, stuff like that. And it really did make them think more and use their minds because it wasn't just about, oh, I want to have fun today, oh, I'm going to dance, I'm going to do this fun activity. No, there was stuff behind it. We were learning shapes, we were learning why you use those shapes, how they can create new things, how you can create the shapes, how you can work together. And it's just a lot of endless things that we learn together. We also learned flexibility. That was one of the habits of the mind. I was able to explore through multiple ways of expressing learning. And then finally, engagement by staying active through the hands-on participation that we did. So again, I wanted to thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Bye.